Well, namaste. All the SEE appearing students, you're going to be graduate next year. SEE graduates, preeminent wishes for your vivid performance. We have longer questions like essay writing or letter writing. I am not going to speak about letter writing today. I am going to speak about the long prose, the long writing which most of the students, because of lack of expression, because of lack of practice, and because of lack of prior knowledge about how to write an essay, they tend to leave the question. In order to avoid these circumstances, in order to avoid this situation, and in order to avoid the habit of escapism, I want to give you a complete logic, a complete idea about how to deal, how to write a very fantastic essay to get 8 out of 8 in your examination. Well, some of the teachers, they have already explained to you about the writing techniques, how it's supposed to be. You have at least a pattern: head, body, and conclusion. That's for the beginners. Your C, the other name given to you is SEE, graduate student who is going to break the unbreakable iron gate. Most of you also tend to think that teachers close their eyes, mark the paper in average, and give 5, give 2, give 3. And if the handwriting is very nice, probably they give 7 out of 8. Well, to tell you frankly, that also happens in the real situation. The big idea about this is the best handwriting. So handwriting matters. I'm not going to talk about handwriting over here. I'm going to talk about 8 marks out of 75 that you're going to attempt. That is more than 10% of your total writing English. Well, 10%, if you are thinking of A plus, 10% matters. Let's come to the main idea of how to attempt essay writing. You can see here elements of essay writing. Elements of essay writing means the needed characteristics, the features of essays, like the body parts that we have. The body parts that we have different organs and different functions. So beyond these organs, if you think, then you'd be thinking about the function of different organs, how the hands work, what's the purpose of eye, what's the purpose of nose, what's the purpose of heart, what's the purpose of liver, and how is the purpose of legs, and so on. Well, essay is also somewhat similar, because an essay also consists of pattern. As I've said, your previous teachers, your teachers, school teachers have already informed you about the pattern: head, body, and conclusion. Well, that design, that paradigm is very suitable for every beginner. Actually, essay does not have actual pattern. However, if you are within the pattern, it will be very, very easier for you to write an essay. Point number 1 that I describe over here is proverb. Well, proverb is very, very essential part of essay writing. It is not only very, very essential part. Actually, it is inescapable writing technique in a long writings like essay. Proverbs tell a lot of information in small statement. Like, for example, tit for tat. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. A bird in hand worth two in the bush. As you sow, so shall you reap. These are also called cliches. Other than these cliches, some important statements said by the renowned people are also can be included, and they tell more than what your language speaks. That is why inserting cliches and proverbs dragged the emotion of the reader. That's why you're supposed to get the perfect marks, the full marks that are allocated for that particular point. Secondly, we have brevity. Brevity stands for playing with words. Well, the more the words that you have learned, the more expression that you have. The more expression that you have, the more logics that you can ponder. The more you logic you ponder, the more hearts that you can win. This is the reason that you must be able to play with the words. You should never be writing the same word in the text again and again and again and again. That reiterative writing, that repetitive writing of the same words make the reader bore. Bore means monotonous. So you are adding monotony to the text. Actually, you don't want black and white in your life. You want colorful garden and colorful world. That's why our text also must consist of various different type of words. Didn't understand? It means, for example, you want to say, I see. And you happen to repeat the same sentence, I see. In the next paragraph, I see. Again another paragraph, I see. And that is really a blunder. Incorrigible mistake that you have committed. So in order to correct this, you must be substituting the words. For say, you have told, you have asked, you have retorted, you have answered, you have replied, you have stated, you have opined, you have visioned, and so. The more the sentences that you are going to use, the more words you must be able to play with and change the sentences. Well, that was a part of it. Another thing that we are going to talk about is variety. Variety. Variety stands for various different things. Different things. Not really one thing. Different things. Now, this different things is not the component that or the information that you're going to insert on the topic. This variety is very simple. The genuine idea is to insert various different types of sentences that you have learned. The sentences like direct speeches, dialogues. What is this? You can insert passive sentences. Remember, never start a paragraph with passive sentence. Always write the first line of the paragraph in active sentences. After that, obviously, you can follow other different type of sentences. Similarly, you can have question tags, tag questions. You can also have if sentence structures, causative verbs, and different type of tenses. Different tenses you can use according to demand of your writing. Usually, essay is written in present tense, and there are at least 4 different type of present tenses, and you can also use present causative verbs. You can also use present if sentence structures. However, you can insert very polite statement like would you mind, would you like, I think, I knew, right? I wish I knew. Different type of optative sentence structures as well could be inserted in your essay writings. After learning these variety of sentence structures, now let's come to another idea called coherence. coherence is nothing more than sequential order. Sequential order means what comes first, what comes second, what comes third, what comes first, what comes fifth. Where the idea is, the more you have the points, the more you want to write and you want to cram. Cram means put everything together in one place without sorting out which is very, very important, which is important, which is less important, and which is, not important at all. According to theory, reverse triangle theory, you have to insert the very important first and important and less important, but avoid non-important. This thing is very important to remember. After understanding this, the idea of coherence is, first we have got one number, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. You cannot have 1, 5, 2, 3, 4, or you cannot have 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. This is the reason you must have the coherence sequential order. And to do that, you have got set of words and phrases. For example, first, at first, first of all, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly, sixthly, seventh, eighth. So these are ordinal numbers that can be inserted in your sequential order of the sentences, the points that you are going to include. Other ways are, for the positive things, for the positive sequential order, you can use similarly, likewise, in addition to, moreover, as, plus, then, you can be using in the positive sides. If you have different ideas, the opposite ideas, you can use another set of words like on the contrary, on the other hand, however, despite the fact, in spite of. So this can be the set of words that can be used in our sentences before each point that you mention. So this will declare that your sentences or your points are put in the coherent or sequential order. Well, finding out what is next in our story is very important. Style of presentation or information or an information. Now we've been doing all different type of writing to expand our writing and to make our writing specific, vivid and witty. But the problem lied when there is no information at all. For example, you are asked to write an essay on rivers of Nepal. Now you start writing about mountains of Nepal. You tell that mountains are beautiful mountains. There we have snow and they are deserted land. Nothing grows over there, most of the rainfalls occur in mountain region. We have got highest mountain called Mount Everest, and most out of 10 top 10 mountains, you have got 8 mountains in Nepal. Now, what are you writing? You're writing everything so nice and beautiful information using all coherence, variety, brevity, proverb, and so. However, your information, subject matter is not correct. In that regard, your entire effort is going to be crossed. So, in order to get into a track, you have to remember the title. The title, if it is the rivers of Nepal, then remember you are writing about the rivers of Nepal. In introductory part, what is river and what is rivers of Nepal? Then give the examples of names of rivers like Rapti, Gandaki, Mechi, Bagmati, and so. Then comes to the advantages of water, utility of water, functionality of water, and how the water is being utilized in our daily lives, in our industry, in our society, in our culture, in our creed, in our tradition and all. Then you can go for the disadvantages of water in next few paragraphs. As you write the disadvantages of water, we would be thinking about water evacuating the entire village, water continually flowing to bring flood and bring landslide and road blockades and all that. And you could also give the examples of tsunami or the flooding in the city areas or the flooding in Japan and lots of cities in Malaysia and Philippines, and so many islands have been submerged because of all the losing lots of property and livestock. You'll be talking about all this in different points, remembering that you are sticking onto the title, Rivers of Nepal. Now when you talk about rivers of Nepal, is it good idea to talk about tsunami? Is it good idea to talk about flooding in Mumbai? Is it good idea to talk about submerging of lands? Do we have islands in our country? Well, that could be inserted to link the disadvantages of water, but in Nepalese context, you have to be able to explain that Nepal also faces similar plight like flooding, landslide, road destructions, and flooding in city areas like entire Kathmandu, entire Patan area are also submerged due to heavy rain. Well, because of flooding, most of the construction works are stopped, and many even already made structures are devastated. Roads are damaged time and again. So this is how we have to explain about the subject matter. Finally, not to forget, to identify a person you must have head. If I block my head, you don't identify me. To give an identity, you have to catch pattern, the design, the paradigm that you have learned. It consists of obviously head, body and conclusion. So head part, title is very essential. Body, you've got lots of advantages, disadvantages, introductions. Now come to the conclusion. To the concluding word. To conclude, we have coherent words like finally, eventually, to sum up, to cut the long story short, thus, therefore, hence are few of the examples to conclude your statement. So in this particular paragraph, you'll not be making a longer paragraph. 3, 4, 5 lines will be enough. And within this, you must be able to summarize the entire information starting from introduction to disadvantages of whatever you have explained. Well, while doing this, remember to insert the proverbs, remember to play with the words, remember to play with the coherent words vocabularies, remember to use the various different type of sentence structures, argue, analyze, explicate and explain, give lots of information. You can make it dramatic, you can have narrative, right? You can have lots of different varieties of writing techniques. Include them all. That's it. Somebody has reminded me. Yes, a room without polishing, without painting does not look nice. However beautiful 4 walls you have made, if you have not hung some beautiful portraits, beautiful pictures, renowned rare pictures and paintings, it is not going to look fabulous. In order to add spices, in order to allure the writer, in order to pour icing in champagne, you must be able to leave some spaces to sketch, to draw rough ideas. So to do that, I'll give you some idea. one, when I do this one, mostly students will be asking me, do we have marks for this? Strongly no, there is no answer, but it drags the attention of the reader. 8 out of 8 you'll be awarded because of these beautiful sketches. Now remind yourself that you're not going to draw rough, very rough. You have to draw very nice one, very focused pictures related to the subject, like rivers of Nepal, draw rivers, mountains, draw mountains, right? Draw bridge very properly. Do not just arbitrarily to the modern doodles. So, first page, half page to one page, you can leave it, writing a title on top. And also in the next 2.5 pages, teachers are not going to measure this one, and one page is equal to 2 marks. They are not going to do that. They will be observing each and every idea, elements that you have mentioned before, so accordingly you'll be awarded. And this first page, in 2 methods you can do. Either before writing essay, write a title and start pondering point-wise, not too much lengthy, just put comma, or give some bubbles, speech bubbles, or different structure like tree branches and some words and words or proverbs, or some timeline like you do in social studies, word or half phrases, sentences, half sentences or phrases. So that will be a good attraction for the reader. Rather than making one full page, it's good idea that you only use the first half page and then start your main essay, writing a title and writing main essays. We're starting with introduction. And now another 2.5 pages, leave some pictures spaces like 2 by 2 inches. In one page at least leave 2 pictures, corner or in a straight line. You can be leaving 2 blank spaces, 2 by 2 inches blank spaces, where you would be drawing neatly. If you draw it properly, it's going to be very nice. You can also carry a color with you, especially not the watercolor, wax crayons. Okay, that's it. Once again, I would like to wish all the very best. May you pass in flying colors. Happy SE examination. Thank you.